Yo, Zero and Go, back at it, episode 15, 1-5. Open forum with the three originals.
Whoop.
Whoop whoop. Oh boy. I hope we don't start that.
Really? We used to use that, that used to be like a pump up thing that we used to say all the time for like a bunch of sports I was a part of.
Whoop whoop.
We'd be like whoop whoop, and then you'd like, we'd have one guy lead it, and then the whole team around him would like repeat it. And it was honestly, that was the only thing that ever got me hyped.
Really?
I would walk out and my skin was like tingling. I would just be like, let's go. I was ready for like war. It was a blast. I used it. It was fun. We had a bunch of cool ones. What have you guys been up to? I haven't seen you guys in about a week and a half now.
I think the better question is, what have you been up to? Yeah, I'm more interested to hear about you than hear about us, man. Tell us about your Oklahoma trip.
Well, okay, so let's backtrack just a sec. 'Cause remember the last time when we did like my own little like personal like counseling session, and we were like, oh, like all that stuff. So I took advice. I took your guys' advice, and I talked to a couple other people, and it seemed like I should just take advantage of the opportunity in front of me. And my boss, so pretty much he has at least half of his staff is staffed in Oklahoma. I don't know if you guys know this, but Oklahoma is currently becoming, like, they're calling it the Silicon Prairie, and kind of like Silicon Valley, because there's a lot of tech jobs going out there right now. People are building, like a lot of my coworkers who live and work in Oklahoma, they work in this dope like little facility that's just where people come and they rent out office space. But it's built the same similar as like all tech, really big and open, big common area, big like conference rooms you can rent. And so my boss offered me this opportunity to go. He's like, hey, like, but if you go, like, I need to know if you're like serious about this. And I thought about it for about a week, and then I was like, you know what? Why not? What's the worst that could happen? So when everything, dude, this guy paid for everything. Paid for my flight, paid for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days. Paid for all the bar tabs. The most expensive one we had was at least, I don't know, 180 between like me and like two other guys. Or between me, himself, and one other guy.
Oh my god.
I mean everything, dude. Like it was just so much fun. He even bought me this little Oklahoma hat, which is cool.
That's a sick hat, by the way.
Isn't it dope?
I like it.
It's the Energy, so it's the soccer club, the MLS soccer club in Oklahoma. Him and his kids are really into soccer, so he always goes to whoever the local soccer club is. But it was awesome, dude. Like I went down there, met everybody the first night, and it was really cool because the chemistry of this company is unbelievable. Like we just kind of walked in. I mean, granted, my boss has been working with these people for probably at least 2-3 years. Has never met them. This is the first time he's actually meeting them. Okay, so he's only had like phone conversations. He's seen pictures on Instagram.
And
he's never even
CEO,
done video
right?
conferencing. Now this guy's horrible at business development just because he's just been sitting on his ass trying to like generate income rather than building his business. I asked him that question, and so now he's actually actively building his business, and it's making a world of difference.
Wow, he's lucky to have you then. It sounds like you're his Robin, you know? He's like Batman, you're Robin. You're picking up the pieces where they're falling down, you know?
I guess me and another woman who is his project manager are helping do a lot of admin stuff. But I'm just kind of there in his ear like, look, dude, like if you really want to start doing something, like you got to act now. Like you're 52 years old and you got to start moving. Because it takes about 5 to 10 years to actually grow something.
It's like his personal coach too.
I guess.
Tony Robbins.
More so like his friend, dude. Like I'm honestly like the guy. After this trip, I look at that guy. I'm like, dude, like I'm excited to go to work now. I see him like I'm like. He's like my he's like my 52-year-old friend, like just a buddy of mine that I get to work with, and he like helps me out with stuff, and I help him out with stuff. But anyway, like we all met each other, and it was cool because he asked a question. My boss did. His name's Barry, and he was saying like, oh, like what's something? Actually, I'm gonna ask you guys this question because it'd be cool if you guys can participate in this, and it's not just me doing a monologue. He like, what's something to you guys like a product or like a product that you guys would stand by, would sell, that's something that you guys love. Mine that I chose, like just to give you an example, was books, right? Like I love literature, I love books. I've been writing, pretty much all my life, just off and on. And like especially when I have like a lot of free time, I write as much as I can. I just constantly am just feeding on books and love reading books. So if I could ever choose an industry or a product to really like, go and service, I would be fucking Jeff Bezos starting off like selling books on like a little online platform just because I love literature, right? So that was like my selection. So what do you think you guys would pick?
I guess I would have a couple, man.
Try to narrow it down to one. The key is to try to find like one very, very specific one. If you can't, choose fine.
I would say like YouTube, but I wouldn't have those restrictions in which they demonetize
things for hate speech or something like that. So it would be a more open platform, so it would allow more ideas to come in. So instead of like demonetizing all these conservative speakers, because YouTube's sort of a left-leaning entity there, I would make it more narrow down the middle. Yeah,
interesting.
And I just heard about YouTube how like they're going for like gender equity with their videos, and like they're trying to get women higher videos and stuff, because YouTube is dominated by males, but I mean not like significantly, but there's definitely more males on there. So like YouTube just has like these ideologies behind it running it that I just don't like. So like there's this other guy who created PewTube, which is basically for like conservatives. So I'd make a balance between the liberals and conservatives, and I would shoot it down the middle, make it pretty much everybody.
And this is just because you love watching YouTube, or
I think it's because it's a huge educational platform, and it's basically books, but for our current century. That's what I view it as, because people go to YouTube just for information, like for books, and like there's book reviews on there that I listen to all the time, and so like that's basically like the new book. So so yeah, so we're on the similar wavelength there, just learning and education. That's like a huge topic for us.
So ironic. So when I was growing up, my mom would always tell me, "Hey, you need to like learn from your dad how to do this. Or you need to you need to watch me on how to do this, so that you learn to do it when you're older." And I would just be like, "Mom, I can just YouTube it. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, so it kind of goes back to what you're saying, where it really is that education base, especially a lot that our generation is, I guess, in my sense at least, relying on. But Mark, like, what do you think you would answer to that question?
Is it like, what would I create, or what would I sell, or what?
It's almost like, what would you like stand by, right? So he would stand by a YouTube platform that is a little more conservative than the current one.
Well, I would just say doesn't have a clear bias, or isn't producing or shooting down or narrowing down an ideology just for their viewers and stuff, and demonetizing it for that. I would take away those rules, and I would just banish them, and so everyone can talk about it, and then people don't have to be worried about getting kicked off YouTube and getting flagged and stuff like that.
There you go.
Just something I would stand by that would like mean the most?
Yeah. Try to keep it to like a product. So his product is the social media. A social media.
Off the top of my head, I would probably say music.
Music, okay. Elaborate.
Just because music can be like seen in so many different lights. Like if you're in a bad mood, you can like portray the music as being like a sorrow type song, or if you're in a good mood, you can like portray it to be a happy, uplifting piece, or anywhere in between. And also, like depending on the song, that may put you in one way or another, and some like help you like deal with like grief or sadness, or just like the emotions that human beings have. And I think that's like a big part of it. I know Gary Vee like talks about this a lot. Like one thing that a lot of people don't have, that especially in our today's society, that is very important, is emotional intelligence, and being able to like judge people, like correctly understands people's emotions towards certain things, and understand your own emotions, so then you can like better like objectively view it, like view a situation or view a topic or understanding. And I think music helps with that in a sense, where you can like, if you have a loved one pass, like maybe some songs that person really liked and always listened to, and that may help with like your grieving process. Or if like you connect a very like happy emotion because you went on this like amazing hike and this song was playing in the background, or like, and so now you have like a great memory connected with this one like uplifting song. And like an interesting part of that is like music is something that's been in like human society for so many centuries and thousands of years, that it's like an inherent part of society. And so that's why I feel it's so important. And that's kind of illustrated in the fact that when you play like songs that were popular for 80-year-old people back when they were like 18, and those were like their favorite songs when they were 18, it like makes them feel younger, and people actually like get more serotonin and dopamine in their brain, and they feel happier because it like brings them back to a different time, and you associate that song from when you were 18 with like, you know, youth and vibrance, and
It's a wormhole.
it's
a form of time traveling.
Yeah, a wormhole.
and so that's why I think music is arguably can be one of the most important.
Yeah.
So with that music, would you have like a platform like SoundCloud, or how would you go about?
I don't know. I mean,
No, I'm talking about him. Like you said, it was a product, right?
that works though. I mean,
Oh, okay,
music
just
is
the overall
music is a
theme or
product.
something.
Well, you
Because you're-
said books, so
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I could just
Okay.
go
yeah,
broad.
music is fine because
Okay.
you can sell albums. You could get in a band and sell your label. I mean,
Yeah.
get signed to. I mean, it doesn't matter.
And yeah, like albums,
Mhm.
like if you want to go to a full extent of just like taking it away from one song, but like even full albums can literally be like storytelling machines, and that can be in like
Oh yeah.
in a,
Well, some
in,
albums
in a
are
way
like
a book almost.
stories. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
So going back to what
Yeah.
you originally wanted, did your boss ask you that
So
specific
he asked
question?
the whole room that, right? So it's
Okay.
kind of like, because I mean, granted, imagine like we're all in this room together. We've worked together for years and years, but no one really knows each other. So it's a little it's still a little awkward. And it was hilarious. So if you guys ever heard of a Deemer box, so my boss Barry talked about Deemer box. Basically, it's just an overly expensive speaker that's like waterproof and like military grade. So it's really cool, really expensive. So that's what he says, and the rest of the room goes around and they get like super deep, kind of like how we all just got here, right? Talking about like their love for music, their love for like having an ideology and all this kind of stuff. Like music is like this wormhole, this time travel. And so one guy was talking about he was talking about music, but he was in like punk and like really alternative bands. Like that's just what he loves to do. I talk about literature and books. Our graphic designer, this guy's awesome. He's 60 something. He told a story. Dude, this story was amazing. He was like, when I was little, I always loved art. Like I just used to stare at like the little Coke bottles. I used to keep like little like STP caps and like Coke bottle caps the way they would do those. And he said he would go like to the catalogs and stare and cut out the beer labels. He didn't know why when he was little. He was just so drawn to it. So to the point where like his mother just would hand him the scissors and say, "Go ahead, cut them all out." He would cut them out and like put them in like little catalogs and save all of them. So he just had these like forever, right? So he just kind of was always drawn to art. When he was, I don't know, he's 20-something, he's a musician. He lives in Tennessee. What is the city in Tennessee that is
Nashville?
Nashville. He lives in Nashville, right?
Oh wow, dude, this guy
guy's
guy
a boss.
knows where to live in. That's a great city.
Oh yeah, so he lives in Nashville.
Alright.
Absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this guy's just an amazing graphic artist. Just stopped. Was like playing in a band. Didn't want to go to school. Just knew he was going to do graphic design. Designed a couple album labels, album covers.
That's so cool.
Like that's just what he loves to do, right? So this guy, I mean, his
Yeah.
story is phenomenal. His work is pristine. Like his work is so good. So he did that. One chick went on like a metaphysical, like realm and rant, which was kind of interesting. It was interesting to listen
What
to.
path did she go down?
I mean, she doesn't believe in any god, but she's like, we come from somewhere. Doesn't believe in like any religion, but like there's something
I
out
don't
there.
believe in religion, but I'm spiritual.
Yeah, so she's cool. She's really cool. She's good at her job, but it was just I would need to have a further conversation to elaborate on her more. The other guy was talking about like books and stuff. The other guy was really long-winded, but it was just a great way to get to know each other.
So you're saying yours was better?
I don't know. This guy like word to the wise. Make sure you are very self-aware, because this guy is just not self-aware to where he will be talking for like 40 minutes and he has no idea he's been talking for this long and will continue to go. We have to be like, dude, shut up, man. We're trying to get shit done here. Like he'll go off on tangents like, oh, and this book I read relates to this story released somehow.
Oh my
and then,
God.
And then he'll draw like a bow and arrow and try to like connect all of them. We're like, all right, like hold on, dude. Like, what are you
With
doing?
one arrow too.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to get all of them.
That's a perfect way to put it. But anyway, it was just so cool, right? Because like all of a sudden, the chemistry in this room was amazing. And we went to the next day. Like I got to lead like a good like half of the meeting, and like I did like a SWOT analysis. Pretty much shit that I learned from our fraternity. I shit you not,
SWOT,
it worked
yeah.
so well.
That's such
like,
a common thing now, I feel like, nowadays.
It
But
is,
did
like-
they not know about SWAT?
They kind of knew about it, but like
I literally did that like every single fucking business class.
it's like, but like it works. It's systematic. You did that. We did like we identified all that, and then we started building our systems. And like I was leading that and working with our project manager, and it was just a bunch of fun. and everyone in the entire room was like getting excited. Like you could just feel the excitement that because our biggest problem is we have too many clients and too much business. We
What a great problem! Could you have a better problem than that? Could you have a better
Precisely.
problem than that?
It's the best problem to
Wow.
have, right? So it's like we all know like the possibilities there, but we have to get our shit in order, and then we can go help all these clients. And so it was like you could just feel the excitement. And after the first day, like I remember I went up to Barry's room at the end of the day, and we were just talking. And I was like, dude, like this is really good. Like this just feels really, really good. And
Wow, you and Barry. Wait, are you two alone?
you guys,
Was
fuck
just you and him, right?
fuck you guys.
Just talking on his bed or
You
what?
took that the farthest way. No, we're just talking like the way everyone feels, like it
How
was.
close were you to guys?
All right, I was like halfway
Arm's length?
out. I was halfway out the door already. All right. Oh wow, you got me. All right, you got me. I'll give you that one.
Talking about self-awareness, huh? Yeah. Could you make it sound more creepy?
Well, I was talking about the business, you fucks. Oh man.
Yeah, probably started with that.
All right. Anyway.
Then you talked about your passions and went downhill from there.
No.
All right, so you're talking to him. You went up to him. You said you feel like
No,
the
we were
company's going in a good
Because
direction.
we were just talking, like we just kind of want, because I mean, obviously me and him know each other the most out of anyone else, so we were just trying to get to know, and like he just wanted to know what I thought and how I was feeling. And it was just really cool because I thought it was going to be difficult to get everyone kind of on board to work on more business development, but everyone was in like immediately. Like there was no question, there was no bargaining, because I feel like at bigger companies it's like, okay, you're getting paid a lot less than he is, but we need you to start working on business development. I thought that would be a lot more difficult, but it was very easy. It felt like everyone. It was like the elephant in the room. Like everyone knew that this needed to be done, and everyone was so happy that it was being done. So this just worked really well. The next day was awesome. We just did a little more like team building, and then we did a lot more system planning, and they did one-on-one meetings and stuff. And then that night, I was like really not enjoying Oklahoma. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Oklahoma. It is flat.
Flat as hell.
Super flat.
Oh yeah.
Super flat. There's
And
like
brown.
it's brown.
Was it brown?
It was getting
Oh,
a little
the
more
part I
green.
was
It was
in.
kind of getting spring.
Oh, okay. So what part of Oklahoma?
I was
North or south?
in OKC.
Okay.
I was in downtown OKC.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was probably a little better than where you were. Maybe were you in?
I was like in the
Norman?
north part. Like,
Were you in Norman? Norman's supposed to be the spot.
is it?
Yeah, because that's where OU is.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
So what made you started to dislike Oklahoma?
I mean, there's abandoned buildings everywhere. Like we're talking like abandoned.
You just said like it was on a spiral up and like it was new,
It
new
is.
tech.
It
so
is.
it's just the very baby infantile stage of it.
So give it like 10 to 15 years in Oklahoma, there's gonna be a mass move to Oklahoma.
What a
I
bold
would
prediction!
predict.
'cause, like,
I think so though.
Wow,
There's a
okay.
lot of money going in.
Yeah, that's a
to
very
this
bold
development.
prediction.
You can see it though.
because that's what I heard exactly
But-
about Austin. Like now that's going to
But
be
all-
the new tech capital.
But if you think about it, all the big cities
everything's gonna be
are
tech capital.
on the edges of the country. There's not one in the middle of the country.
I know, but you got to understand though, with the rate that California living is going, the way that New York living is going, people are going to be like, I can't handle this anymore, and they're going to go to where jobs are. And if Google's investing, I literally walked into that office and Google's just giving these people just like material and shit. Like it's insane, right? So if companies are investing and people are building and giving jobs there, everyone's going to move, dude.
And I heard like Peter Thiel's moving his company like to
Peter
either-
Thiel does what? I have no idea.
He's a huge like Silicon Valley guy, like
Okay.
very famous. He's moving like his companies like to the south or
Yeah,
something.
it's cheaper.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, also A, it's cheaper, and then B, you have California where it's becoming so strict you can't even think.
Like,
And so they have these restricted policies and
I
they have
agree.
compliance policies, and it's also
Everyone's
the
getting pushed
ideology
out.
behind California too. Like you can't say this, you can only say this.
Everyone's getting
And
pushed
so
out.
people are just getting sick of it, and that kills creativity. By the way,
Mhm.
that's the worst thing you can do.
I'm telling you, dude, people are going to move there. But it's just like, there's a bunch of abandoned buildings. The streets are huge. It's just like really empty. I mean, I think
Like 4 lanes wide.
like the highways are, but like the streets themselves, like they're really wide compared to
So
like
each
other
lane
cities.
is wide. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
the
saying?
lane
Wow.
itself is wide. Like it's just, I'm like crossing the streets. Like
They gotta
this
drive
is
all their
bigger.
trucks, man.
Well, like
Yeah.
it's just that, and there's just not a whole influx of people, so it's not like the streets need to be real narrow to handle all this building and people building on top of each other.
How large were the sidewalks?
I mean, pretty, probably a little bigger. Everything felt bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas. It just felt bigger. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Like this, I'm just making it because Texas is right by Oklahoma.
Okay,
it was interesting.
Why'd you feel homesick? Besides,
I didn't feel homesick. It was just like there was just not a lot going on. Granted, it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday night, but we went to a bar that was like really. It was like I'm talking. Maybe the bar was like 8 feet in length. The bar itself. One bartender, cool ass gal, and we just sat there for like 4 hours and got hammered, and I had a blast. That was fun.
So that made you feel better about Oklahoma?
No, that just made the trip more fun.
So that's why they drink so much in Oklahoma?
Oh, dude, there's nothing else to do.
Everyone's depressed there until they go to the bar.
Self-medicating.
There's nothing else to do. I asked him, I was like, because Barry was trying to sell me, he's like, come on, like, he's like, what if, like, we moved here? Like, what if I said you'd make $120K moving here? I'd like, dude, I'd probably say no. I'd be like, dude, like, honestly, dude, I'd be depressed. I asked him, I was like, can you go to the beach? Yeah, in like a day, 2 days. Okay, no way. Can I go to the snow? Yeah, you got to go all the way to Utah. That's far. That's really far compared to Tahoe, which is like an hour. The beach is like an hour. I mean, this is Sacramento. In Southern California, everything's 40 minutes.
If the traffic's good.
If you wake up early enough.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I asked, like, what do you guys do for fun here? Well, I don't know. We go home. We watch a lot of movies. And like, just like there was like no one had anything to say. They go to a Thunder game, and this is what did it the most for me. Okay, because we were talking to like the waitress at the hotel who lives there, is native, and we were asking like, because I asked him, I was like, okay, where does Russell Westbrook live? Guys with a shitload of money, he could probably make a pretty good life for himself and be very comfortable in Oklahoma. He lives in California. Okay, Russell Westbrook has to be making mills. Lives in California, rents out an Airbnb in Oklahoma when he needs to be in Oklahoma. That's how I knew there's no way I'm going there.
What?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But he has to be there all the time, though.
No, he doesn't. Think about it. Because the only time he needs to be there is when he's training, and that's it. Other than that, when the season's in, he's on the road all the time. So he's never home, right? So the only other time he's home is when he needs to be, which is probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months out of the year, which then he's in or wherever he is in California, and then he's just training with his own personal trainer in California, and then he comes back with the team. That's it.
But yeah, in the off season, it seems like in the regular season though, like you have like the training where like in Oklahoma, so you have to go there. Then you got games.
You're always on the road.
But you're also training too. Like they have like hardly any days off for NBA.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what was told to me, and that's what did it. And I was like, okay,
that just seems hard to believe.
If one of the richest guys can,
right? I'm sure he has like a house in California.
Yeah.
We don't know how often he spends in California, though.
I would probably a lot.
So you got the general sense that everybody, just when the people you're talking to, like the general population, really didn't do anything or had nothing going on.
There was
kind of depressed.
It wasn't was depressed. What? No, that's why really nothing. It seemed like there was a lot of bars. They kind of have. It was kind of interesting though. Like they have a very big artist community, believe it or not.
What?
Yes, that blew my mind. They're like.
I feel like there would be tons of shit to do then if there's a huge artist community because there's crazy stuff going on. They got.
It's not, but they don't do a whole lot of like events. They do like occasional ones. But it was cool. There's like a film row, like of just all these like film businesses. But they look like run down. You know, like they look like at one time. All right, this was film row. The coffee shops are just like here in Sacramento. They're all urban wood, like the hanging lights and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this must be everywhere then. Probably is.
Yeah, it's just the modern hipster vibe, you know.
And so I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I would be really, really interested to see where it goes in 10 years because I bet there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of money, and a lot of jobs. And everything's really cheap there. I mean, everything's really cheap there.
The drinks were pretty cheap?
Yeah, the drinks were cheap. The food was cheap. The food was really cheap.
Really?
Like, we went out to a really nice dinner for, like, 6 people. We only spent, like, $200.
That's good.
Like, that's nothing.
That's really good.
That's nothing.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Do you think it was a commuter city? That's why everyone just lives like in the country and then they just come in for work and then just head out, and so it's kind of dead.
Absolutely. There's like didn't really seem like there's any apartments where anyone would be like, oh, like yeah, this is like where all these kind of people live. This is where a lot of people want to live here. There's no like big old Victorian houses like there are, in downtown Sacramento. You know, so it's like there really isn't anything except for a Sheraton, a bunch of bars. This place called Bricktown, which there's just bars and like a couple other things. There was a cool little like there's a lot of there was a cool architecture. There was like this bridge. There's this huge like circular sphere, cylinder actually, that has like a bunch of there's plants like all over that you could walk through. And there was like a garden, and then they had a stage that was like on the water. So it was like cement, and then it was surrounded by water.
So it was like amphitheater?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Dude.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there is
some pics up on
there is a really
Oh, there's
big
hella cool pics.
like artist movement there. Like pretty much every like person I ran into that was young was like, oh yeah, I'm studying film, or I'm studying dance, or I'm studying music. So like,
So what universities in that city then?
well, I know you're quizzing me. Jeez, I'm not from there, man.
What? Well, you said it sounded like you talked to a lot of people like studying stuff. Like, where are you studying all this?
OU seemed to be the. I mean, granted, that's the big one that's there. Tulsa's nearby. That's about the only ones I can remember.
Is that it?
Let me see. No.
That wasn't it. It
Look
wasn't
up
Lincoln
look
Park?
up OKC Amphitheater. OKC Downtown Amphitheater.
So do you think this
Or
was
just
like?
put play. It's nothing like this. It's half this size.
Where's the one place you would take a tourist in that city? Like, all right, you got to go here if you're gonna only be here for like a couple hours. Where's like the best place to bring someone? Like, this is what we have to offer.
It has to be a Thunder game.
Really?
It has to be, because I mean that seemed like the pretty much that everything was like, oh yeah, like
If you
we
don't
go to
like
Thunder game.
basketball, that blows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but everyone
If you hate
goes to a Thunder
basketball.
game.
Damn.
You
So-
know,
Wait, so they only have basketball and like that soccer team, right?
that's it. That's all I have, except
Oh.
for the college baseball team, and that's it, dude. So it's not a whole lot there right now. I think in a couple of years there will be a lot of.
See,
people
that
there.
does not look like a whole lot at all.
It's not. It's really not. I mean, the city's tiny. And it's
It does
just-
look like a small ass city. It has like one huge skyscraper.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it's think about that. That's OKC. Like, I never imagined OKC. Every time I see OKC, especially on the NBA, I think of like some big elaborate thing because their basketball teams are usually pretty good. But this just isn't it, or it's not it yet. I should say, because they are. I mean, they're putting in a trolley downtown. They're doing a bunch of construction all over the place. People are buying up businesses, but it just looks run down at the moment.
Oh wow.
Um,
I wonder if do they have any huge like festivals or country festivals? Or
Okay, so that's it. So go right 4 images, down, scroll down. Okay, right there. 1, 2, right next to the train. That one. Click that. So that's that big cylinder. Click on do related images search.
What is that?
So that's the botanical garden.
Oh, gotcha. It seems like that's kind of popular for like a Midwest Southern thing to have a huge building like that where it's just glass basically and people go in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has anything to do with like the humidity or something.
Well, there's a lot of architects there. So there it is. So this is the amphitheater. Boom. Right there.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, they do a really good job of like the nursery and everything. That's kind of what the locals were like. Oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, have you seen the ocean?
Have you seen mountains?
Have you seen Malibu, California, or Long Beach, where it's just cliffs and huge homes and beautiful people? There's not a lot of beautiful people in Oklahoma. I will say that as well.
Really?
Oh no, not what I was seeing.
Probably all overweight.
Yeah, they apparently like the people they were saying they're one of the highest states for fast food, like locations. There's just a bunch of fast food everywhere.
Jeez.
I mean, but it's cheap, dude. You can buy a decent house for $80,000.
That seems so depressing. Now I know why you turned down $120.
Oh, dude, no.
$120,000 a year for this.
Are you kidding me? Leave all my friends, go to a desolate wasteland, make $120K,
Mad Max over here.
make $120K, and just be miserable. I would rather have my sanity and my happiness.
Yeah, I sure as fuck want to do it.
No way.
No go.
I can't believe Barry was considering this, man.
He wasn't considering it. He was just throwing it out there like, come on, man. Like, you would move here. Come on, man. I'm like, no, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
But it is.
It seems like they're doing the best they can with what they got, though.
They
That's
do.
what
And the people are so nice. I mean, everyone was so nice. Really. Honest. Like, they really are. There definitely is a thing about Southern hospitality that rings true every time I visited anywhere in the South.
Yeah.
But like, people are just really nice, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people's company. I had a great time at that bar, just hanging out with that bartender. And it's just like, there is opportunity there. So I mean, if I was an entrepreneur that had a family, I would move there. But if I was a single entrepreneur, that'd be a tough change. And if I had money to grow a business down there and give jobs, I would give those people jobs, man. A lot of those people seem like they need jobs. They have a homeless
You
population.
don't
there.
get any jobs. That's not a good thing. You seem like you really need a job, man.
I'm telling you, man. Well, it's not like Sacramento. Like I see,
That's a funny way to put it, though.
I see like G wagons and Maseratis and like all this shit like on a
You didn't
pretty
see
regular basis.
Any nice cars there?
It's just not in the same multiplicity as anything else. Like there's
a bunch
not
of
as
trucks.
many. There's a lot of trucks. There's a lot of basic cars for people to get around. There are some nice cars. There are, but it's just like it's just not to the degree that I see here in California. It probably also has a lot to do with their population not being as high as ours. That's a pretty good picture of Oklahoma or OKC right there. And there's it's just a lot of abandoned buildings, dude. Like you walk around and you're like, this is just depressing.
You make me never want to go to
Yeah.
OKC, by the way.
Everyone's gonna like boycott.
Go if
us
it's
now.
free.
Watch our
terrible.
like 2 listeners be from OKC,
Yeah.
and you just pissed them off.
This
Well,
is-
I mean,
We're gonna get a strongly worded email from them.
I hope they come back and tell me, hey, you did it all wrong. The next time you go to AKC, you need to go to this part. You need to go to this section. You need to see this band. You need to go to this bar and meet this bartender. Like, and then they'll probably kick my ass. But like, just be like, like maybe I didn't see it
for
right.
you.
Granted, I was also hanging out with people who were like 45 and 50. So that might have a lot to do with it.
That might maybe a little bit.
So I'm really hoping the next time I go, it's on like a Thursday night, so I can go and hang out with like a bunch of like people my age. But pretty much everyone was saying like people who are my age, they go to Norman, which I believe is where OU is originally.
But anyway, so
Norman,
that's my Oklahoma story. I mean, look at those great skies. That's because they don't have anything. They have a lot of tornadoes as well.
I was about to say,
And a
Did you
lot
talk
of
about
weather.
tornadoes?
They have a lot of weather. But like they apparently because the girl that used to work, one of the girls who works for us, used to work for like a roofing company, and they get like hailstorms, like crazy, like golf ball sized hailstorms, or like almost the size of your fish, just pounding on your roof. So people don't have solar roofs there. I mean, they might get roofed.
Yeah.
yeah. I was about to say, I think they have a lot of tornadoes there.
They do have a lot of tornadoes.
Tornadoes, nah, I'm good. Crappy city plus tornadoes. Hell no.
And you could buy a house.
That's an easy
You
pass.
could buy a house for
Yeah.
like $80K, and it would be great.
It's gonna be just destroyed in
Yeah,
2 years by a
destroyed in a
tornado.
year. So
No
that's-
wonder they're so cheap.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm back on Oklahoma.
They're like cars. You just buy a new one every 3 years.
I mean, I don't know about all that.
I just don't get why people choose to live there. I mean,
I think you're born. I think you're
bad
born
weather, terrible like tornadoes, not a lot going on.
It's cheap, dude. It's cheap. That really is. I think one of the biggest draws because everyone.
Well, I
knows-
think cheapness is an indicator. Like, yeah, there's a reason why it's cheap. You know, it's not there. If something's great, it's not going to be super cheap. You get what you pay for,
that's
really.
very, very true.
And
That's why
if you want to pay for nothing, you're going to live in nothing, right?
I know, and I really want to see the Carolinas because I've heard great things about the Carolinas.
When I went there, it was like super humid,
I mean, other than the humidity, like the
and
Myrtle
you
Beach,
still get
Myrtle Beach.
hurricanes and shit there. That's what I hate about the East Coast, like all those hurricanes and those bomb cyclones, and like, no, not
No.
doing that.
I'll take my risk when they.
And super humid.
Yeah, we only have to worry about one thing:
Yeah.
earthquakes.
That's only one
Yeah.
that we're really waiting on.
And we don't have humidity, or like that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah, no,
that we walk out every
humidity
day.
I know.
There's no humidity.
I've experienced humidity.
Yeah,
hate
humidity's the worst, man.
Which, we actually, it was funny because when we were over there, we were looking up like which states have the like lowest population. I think like Dakota is one of like the actually look it up for us.
Of course it is.
What states have the lowest population?
Dakota, yeah.
Makes sense, right? It's freezing cold like
Yeah.
9 months out of the year. Who wants to
Yeah.
be in snow that long?
And nowhere. They don't even have Oklahoma City. They have nothing. At least Oklahoma is Oklahoma City. North Dakota's got
There it is.
nothing.
There it is. North Dakota.
Wyoming. I was going to say Wyoming's pretty bad
Wyoming.
too, man.
Washington.
Where does Oklahoma rank? Let's see. Does it keep going? 48 more rows. Yes, check it out. California's number 1, baby.
Oh yeah.
That's how you know we're
Of
the
course
best.
it is.
Wyoming's the
Oklahoma's 28, 3.7 million.
oh, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
I don't know. And so like this conversation kind of spurred on. I was talking to a couple of my buddies when we got back here.
Wow, Indiana's a thing. Huh?
Like being from California, it's like it's really a thing. It's totally a thing.
Georgia's balling, dude.
Dude, Georgia's a great place to live.
Jeez.
New Jersey's a cool place to live.
Illinois, dude.
Fighting
Illinois is
Illinois.
popping.
Is
Oh yeah, wow, Illinois.
It's probably all
Is
Chicago.
Chicago. I was about to say that's all Chicago,
Chicago.
dude. Yeah.
probably is.
Literally
Madison's,
all
where's
Chicago.
Wisconsin on there?
Texas.
I don't see Wisconsin. Oh, there's 20th. I really want to visit Madison as well. So an idea I was playing with, I threw to Scotty, or our good friend Scotty. He's one of my roommates.
Scotty, shout out to Scotty.
Yeah, because I was thinking for a while, I was like, dude, with this job, I mean, I could work from anywhere, right? Because really, all I need is my laptop and a phone with some service, and I can get all my calls done and
You'd
do
be the next Henry
everything I
Rollins,
want.
dude.
So kind of what I was thinking is, my dad has an old VW bus
Oh
that I could fix up, get like a hotspot for myself or whatever I need to like constantly have Wi-Fi, and tour the U.S. and work the entire time.
That would
How
be pretty sick.
dope would that be? Wouldn't that be
pretty sick.
amazing?
If you're doing that in your 20s, like that's a good way to spend your 20s, man.
That would
It's
be
the best way to
awesome.
spend your 20s.
So I'm still debating. I've been mulling it over for, I don't know, like 2.5, 3 weeks now. Gonna keep thinking about the idea and keep seeing where my position is with this company.
So did Scotty give you that idea? Why'd
What's
you
this
that was
company
mine.
called that you work for?
It's named Olive Media.
Olive?
Olive Media. It's a digital marketing association. So we'll build your website. We'll do your AdWords. We'll do your social media. We'll do all that sort of stuff. So it's just like I think that'd be a killer opportunity to be able to do something like that. Go down. I don't know if you'll even find it. I type in Olive Media Sacramento. You probably won't be able to find this. And so, there it is. And so it's just like that'd be a
Shout out
killer,
to Olive Media.
a killer opportunity, wouldn't it?
Find a plug for your company?
But then I was thinking even more. It's like I could just go have like a bunch of suits with me and go to these big cities and try to land like big name clients at the same time because we can work from anywhere and we can have clients all over. We have clients in Florida. We have clients in Boston. Like,
So how would you go about doing it? Just going into like fancy bars, fancy hotels, and
I would probably go like to let's say I went to Madison, Wisconsin. I would go to
Yeah.
Madison, Wisconsin, stay there for like 2 weeks, get to know some people, maybe try to see where like some big ballers go or some.
Are you just like
some-
walking into businesses?
I would
do that.
I don't know. I would go to bars. I would go to businesses. I would just try to make like relations with people
Mm-hmm.
who have like small businesses because our core customers are small businesses. We do some big business, some like people that are entrepreneurs that have hit it big, but for the most part, it's like pretty decent small business owners that do really really well for themselves. I mean, we bill over a couple mil a year. But it's just like that would be an awesome opportunity to tour the U.S., get some clients, work from a van, and then make it back home and start my life. The only problem is I want to be able to save money at the same time. So we'll see. It's an idea that I'm pondering, and we'll see.
Maybe you could
We'll see what I wanna
offset
do.
it. Maybe you could just not spend more money than you would spend here.
That's
Does
what I
that
was
make sense?
thinking.
You-
Like I'd have to. I
You
just need to
could
do the
probably
logistics.
honestly save money,
Do you
especially
think so? Do people
especially
do
compared to
that?
living in California. Because think about it, if you live in your bug,
That'd be fun.
all you have to do is pay for gas, and if you like spend X amount of time like in a city
Yeah.
or somewhere, then you're not traveling that much in your car during those days.
Where do
So
those people
you're not
shit, though?
Spending that much on gas.
Where do those people shit? I always think like I've
I'd say
actually
you gotta
looked up.
shower
Like,
and stuff.
yeah, like where do I shower? Like I don't.
You gotta get a 24-hour
get a
fitness.
24-hour
They're
fitness.
everywhere.
I thought
dude.
about that to be honest. I was like, because I would love to just keep
Everywhere.
working out, and like I would hate for my body just to go to shit. I'm just fucking eating like hot dogs and hamburgers all day.
You can make it work. You just have to be creative.
That'd be cool. And then I also thought like totally like, what if I rigged the van to have like GoPros and I just like did like a YouTube channel? Like that'd be awesome, dude. That'd be so fucking cool.
That's a good idea.
That's
Like
a great idea.
Like,
a whole YouTube channel, just where you are, what you're doing. Like that's pretty sick.
and then
You
I
could like
record myself-
continue your blog and shit too with
Yeah.
that.
And then
Yeah,
I
you
could,
can do
I
your
could
own
record
writing.
myself doing like business interactions and just fucking act like Gary Vee, like
Yeah.
operate on both platforms. I don't know. It was just like something I've been playing with in my mind at least.
And you
I need to put
probably-
pen to paper on it to see if I actually really want to do it.
And you probably find some really cool places where you can just sit and write, and
Yeah.
you can just work on all that stuff, like your
It's
own
just-
personal stuff as well.
It's just tough right now. Like, I don't know. We'll talk about it later why it's tough. I don't really want to do on that. I don't know, we can talk about it now if we want.
So going back to Scotty, why did you bring Scotty up then?
Because Scotty's a realist.
Yeah, he is.
So Scotty's...
That's what I love about Scotty.
Scotty's-
That's why him and I connect LOL.
Exactly. So Scotty's a realist, and of course I'm a fucking dreamer. So it's always good to have someone to offset me.
Yeah.
And kind of tell me like, yeah, this is a pretty decent idea, or hey, dude, you're just going way off in Candyland. Like let's pull you back in.
Feeling a little delusional.
Yeah.
So what do you say about it?
He thought it was a great idea. He was like, dude, like that's a killer. Like for your 20s, just kind of like what your guys' reaction was. Like, why don't you just do that? But I just want to think about it because. I mean, having my girlfriend, like I really like my girlfriend right now, and that'd be pretty tough to do that for that long.
Could she travel with you?
No, she's got her own path she's on. She's gonna go get a master's when she graduates. So
Oh, and what?
In speech pathology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to deter her from anything like that. And then I'd be alone too, unless I found someone to do it with, which is something to think about, which is an adventure in itself.
You seem like a guy that would sort of enjoy being alone, though.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I feel like you're one of the few people that would like thrive and almost prefer it.
But you're also really good at talking to people and making friends, though.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of your strengths, though, is like getting to know people. Like, think about how you got your job and stuff. Like, there's always these weird ways, and you got connections with like news, like getting on the news and stuff. Like, you're just really good at like getting connections and talking to people. So you have a good balance, man. So I think you're like the perfect guy that should go out and do that. You're like that type of guy, like who would succeed. I wouldn't worry about it, put it that way. If I was your mom, I'd be like, yeah, he'll be fine,
Wow. I think the number one question I have to ask is if I will regret not doing it. And
oh yeah, that's a good question.
That's a whole different ballgame.
But that's what usually spurs me towards things in this direction. Is it like it's like okay, like I weigh my options and I'm like, I could carry on doing this, and
you got to think about the opportunity cost. Like, what are you giving up
economics
for doing that?
Look at this guy. Oh,
Business.
Very true. It's true. And
Yeah.
I got to figure it out, man. It's true. But anyway, I mean, I've been talking. You guys let me talk.
But hold on. But here's like the other plan too. Is like if you are like you want to be around your girlfriend and stuff like.
Yeah.
You can still like I don't know. You can like maybe live with her and then like you just go off and do like a 2-week thing and come back and see how you like it. And if you like it for 2 weeks, you can go off and go do like a 3-week thing. And so you can do like a mini version, like a mini trial version, and go out and try it out.
You could just keep extending it,
Yeah.
Like you do it, or like you go out for 2 weeks, come back for 2 weeks, go out for 2 weeks, come back for 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, what gave you the courage to take a leap, to take the jump, and just bike across the entire United States? By the way, Mark biked the entire United States, coast to coast. I mean, he never even talks about it.
Our
So, like,
dad's
what-
credit card. we didn't have any bills. Like we were in school. We didn't pay any costs.
Well, whose idea was it?
It was an idea that me and my dad have always like talked about. Be like, yeah, that'd be really cool to do, but you never expect to actually follow through.
When did like
do
the
this.
idea like come to be? Like, was it, hey, hey sons, it's Father's Day, we're 12 years old. Have you guys ever thought about biking? Like, I don't know. Like, how old were you guys?
Like when I first started talking about it with my dad, I was probably when I got into biking. So that was freshman year in high school.
So you're 14?
So yeah, 14.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, yeah, it'd be really cool to do that one day, just like in a random conversation with my dad. And then it would come up like periodically where it'd be like, yeah, it'd be really fun to do. Or you would like see something and you read about somebody doing it and be like, man, that'd be fun to do. And I would like show my dad the article or whatever. And then after my first year in college, summertime, like 2 weeks before we leave, my dad's like, so after 4th of July and you're done working, because I was working the fireworks stand for like a week straight, and then I went up to Tahoe like immediately after to do a Tough Mudder, and then as soon as I got back from that, then my dad was like, when you get back from that, what do you think about biking across the United States? The first thing I said was, I don't think I'm in shape for that. And he had the best response that I think you should, like, this is how you should respond to life. And he said to me, well, if you're not in shape now, you'll be in shape by the time we're done.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And I was like, wow, I can't argue with that. Like, you can't be like, nope, I disagree. Because you sure as fuck would be in shape by the time you're done.
Oh my god.
So basically after that, then like a week went by, and you know, I thought it was just kind of a bullshit conversation. I didn't know how serious my dad was, and he's like, so and then he started laying out like, so we can put everything in the back of the van, and he like started playing the shit out, and I was like, wait, we're actually gonna do this? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm like, fair enough, like, because my dad was like 55 at the time, somewhere around there, give or take a year or two.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, I'm not getting any younger, so he's like, let's do it. And I had the summer free because like I just did like jobs during the school year and stuff, and during the summer it was free for me. And so what basically ended up happening was we took our Astro van that we've had for like 7-8 years.
Is this like those like silicon or like metal jetliners that you old school you see?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what we did was we took out the middle row, and so then we had like a big cargo space in the middle, and then we had a roof rack on top, threw our bikes up on the roof rack, threw all our like camping gear stuff in the van, and basically it was me and my dad biking almost every day. We took like a few days off to like sightsee, or I was doing like an online summer class during that time.
Yeah.
So
that was the one thing dragging us down.
Yeah.
That online summer.
but it was
You
all
did an online summer class while biking across the U.S.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
ballsy. That's not a pair of balls,
Yeah.
man.
Hey, I gotta be in the class. I was just praying to pass at that point. Because I was so busy every day, like fucking biking and just tired. Because when I biked for like 5 hours, 6 hours, I don't want to go and fucking like
No.
do an online summer class.
That's hilarious.
And so, what ended up happening was my dad and me would bike. We'd get up in the morning and bike every day. Michael, co-host Mike here, and
Co-host Mike, that's my new nickname. Co-host Mike.
co-host Mike,
Co-host Mike.
and his girlfriend at the time, Bree. They were like our drivers.
Yeah.
And so they drove the Astro van while we biked, and they would like clean up camp after we already set off for the morning, and then they would like meet us for lunch, and then we would have lunch, and then they would go to like find a next camp spot or hotel or whatever we were doing for the next night. And
By the way, that lunch was always Mexican food.
yeah,
100%
we had Mexican
always.
food like.
You'll be surprised. It's everywhere across the United States. Every town had a Mexican shop, and it was like the easiest, cheapest, quickest food.
Yeah, so it was like...
Because you get like a lot of macros and stuff in it,
True,
and when
true.
you're biking all day, like
You need that.
you just need something like that's really going to give you energy throughout the day, and Mexican food's like an easy solution to that. And so yeah, Michael would go set up for the next night or whatever, Michael and Bree, and then we would just repeat the process and like get up early, bike away.
So question for it. So like are you and your dad biking like one behind the other, side by side?
It all depends on the road.
Okay. Are you
Because like a lot of the, because think about it this way, Highway 50 is the loneliest highway. That's what it's like famously known for.
Okay.
Because once you get past Carson City in Nevada, Highway 50 is like fucking dead all the way to like Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
So literally we took Highway 50 from Nevada to Missouri because no one uses that anymore. Everybody uses Highway 80 to get across the United States. It used to be 50. That was your main corridor from East Coast to West Coast. But now Highway 80 is by far the route that people use.
Is it because 80's faster? Just
Yeah,
more
it's just
poppy?
faster, bigger, like
Okay.
hits more cities and
Okay.
all that shit. So Highway 50 is the loneliest highway in America. Is what they
So
call
you're
it.
lonely?
And no,
I mean, you had your dad.
I had my dad, yeah. But so basically, just took Highway 50 all the way across, and so a lot of that is just like one lane, maybe 2 lanes at some parts, and so on those, it all depends on the shoulder. If you have a wide enough shoulder, like me and my dad will bike like side by side, so then we can like conversate and stuff. or if it's a smaller shoulder, then we just do like front and back. And a lot of the times it was him in the front, like for like the flat areas, because he would just block the wind for me. Because I'm pretty small, and my dad's like 6 foot, so he blocks a lot of the wind. I save a lot of energy, and my not in shape ass needed all the help it could get. So
like, how long did it take you to get in shape? Like a week, 2 weeks? B, how long was the entire trip? Had to be a couple months, right?
the entire trip was 5 weeks and 5 days.
Oh, you did it fast.
Well, we didn't like we didn't bike religiously. Where it was like, oh, I dip my bicycle in the ocean and then like start riding, you know, and then like
Came out from the ocean
and then
the sea.
and then didn't get back in, like, or didn't get off till we got to the other ocean, right?
Yeah.
It was nothing like that
Very
because
specific.
a lot of it is like the towns don't add up to how far you're biking that day. So like you may have like a 30-mile gap between like a decent town or decent camp area that you're gonna stay at, and like if you get tired before that, you're kind of fucked. So what we would do, we would just like call Michael when we're done for the day. It's like, okay, we're beat. Like we're just out here to have fun. We're not out here to bike every.
You're not proving anything to nobody.
Yeah, we're not out. Yeah, we're just out there for the adventure more than
That's
anything.
awesome, dude.
And so, like, Michael would pick us up and we'd just drive over to the next town and then set up camp or whatever.
That's awesome.
But, so 5 weeks, 5 days, and then, what was your other question?
How long because you said you were out of shape going into it, right?
Oh, how long to get into shape? Well, here's the kicker. the first fucking 2 days of my trip, like, I had a real bad, like, cold, like, chest cold, and the first ride is the most difficult ride. The first fucking ride in California is the most difficult ride.
It's because you're going up over.
Because you're going up, because you're starting at zero, because you're at, we started in Folsom, which is 300 feet altitude.
Yeah.
And you're going over the Sierras, which peak at like 9,500 feet.
Yeah.
So you're climbing 9,500 feet in one day, and that's just fucking brutal. Literally nothing but uphill, and that's the worst. But then once you get back down in there and you go like past Nevada and past like all the Midwest and stuff, like all that elevation is still like at like 3,000 feet. So you really like didn't lose a lot of your altitude. So when you get back to like Colorado and you're going over those same like peaks, you're starting at 3,000 feet. So you only have to climb like 6 instead of 9. And so that's way easier. And so when I was sick, like that kind of set me back a little bit, and it made like the first 2 days of the trip like fucking painful and just miserable, not fun. And so that probably didn't help my conditioning. But with that included, I had probably a week and a half until I was like, okay, like I'm just in the groove now, and I'm just steadily biking. I'm not having to really think about how much energy I'm expending.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
And Mike, did you have a good time on this trip?
Yeah, it was good. And I think our dad, his bike broke down like the first day.
Yeah, midway through like at the end of the first day, the very end of the first day, his like derailleur broke off and shot into the spokes of his bike, and so like it was fucked. Like he could not ride. Luckily, we had to go find him, pick him up by like Kirkwood is.
Yeah.
That's like right where we had to pick him
It
up.
was that night. It was raining.
Yeah.
Did you like leave him in the dust?
No, like the first day I had to get picked up because like I was sick and I was just done. I was cashed.
So your dad just kept going?
Yeah.
Trooper!
Well,
Trooper!
he's way more shape than I am. But
That's impressive.
so I probably climbed like, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 feet that day, and then like after lunch I just like couldn't do it. I was just exhausted. And so I said, pick my ass up, Mike. And so he came pick me up, and then my dad just kept riding. We were going to set up the camp or whatever, and then we get a call from him saying like, oh yeah, my bike's broke. stuck. I can't go anywhere. I'm by Kirkwood, whatever. And so we had to like go pick him up and then drive back to the campsite. And then the next day we went into a bike shop. Luckily he was able to like fix it right away.
Wow.
And then so and that was like only the one hiccup we had the whole trip. Like the car, no issues.
Oh my
like
goodness.
no other bike issues. Like I only got 2, 3 at the most, like flats the whole way across the country.
Nice.
And yeah, it was pretty smooth sailing. Like we had a spare bike in our vehicle.
Smart.
And we didn't even have to touch it, so that's good.
And then did you drive back the entire? Just drive back? Took you like a week to drive back?
My mom flew out to the East Coast, met my dad, and then Mark and I flew back to the West Coast, and then my mom and my dad drove back like through the South because they wanted to see this.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, because we had to get to school. Because by the time we started this, it was like mid-July, right? And then school started at the end of August.
Yeah.
And so like by the time we got back, we only had like 4 days before school started.
So were you guys like the talk of like the high school? Like, hey, these kids just went across country?
I was coming into college, so like it was like brand new, and like Mark was a sophomore year, so in college.
Oh, college?
Yeah.
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah.
It was 2013.
Oh, I thought this was in high school, man.
No. I was starting my sophomore year in college, and he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we couldn't brag about it if that's your question.
Well, I just thought I just would have figured like
I don't really bring it up like when I meet people because
that seems
I had to
like a
pull
weird
it out
thing
of
to
you.
bring up though.
that'd be something cool to know. People want to know.
Well, when people like when you do those icebreaker games, like I'll use that because everyone thinks that's like the one lie you're telling, and all the rest are truths, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll use it like during that situation, but it like just doesn't come up in normal day conversation, and I don't want to be the guy that's like the one-upper guy, always trying to people one-up people's stories. Like that's the worst.
That's true.
So
That's all.
a lot of people don't really know about that till they like see my tattoo, and they're like, "What is that?"
That's awesome. And Mike, you had a good time on this trip. That's so cool. Your whole family was in on it, though.
Yeah. We kind of cheated. I think we drove through most of Utah. We drove down from like St. Louis to the Memphis. So I mean, we had some driving in there. So it wasn't like pure, I think most people can do it like the way we did it because it was more fun too the way we did it.
Yeah, like you said, it was an
Because we just
adventure.
kind of like moved on, yeah. But it shows you like how big our country is. Like holy shit, we got so much land here. Like land's not a problem at all. Like
Oh, no.
it's endless, man.
It's
But
just
there were some cool
Yeah.
towns though, and made you appreciative like of what we have here in California.
You run into like a lot of unique people for sure. Like,
Yeah.
and you just see how people are different
Like how they
throughout
live,
the country.
yeah.
Like,
And like the food they eat and how they eat and how they interact and talk. Yeah, because like I went to like Kansas and like I couldn't even like use my credit cards like all cash and like some of their parts and stuff. So I was like, damn, like
it definitely gives you perspective about like the country because the country's so big and so vast and so different in so many different ways that it definitely made me really appreciate California because California, like, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but like on the coast, like even the East Coast, like that'd be cool, but
Manhattan would be cool.
I would definitely like because there's a lot of
New York City.
there's a lot of really cool cities and stuff over there, but I would definitely prefer the West Coast, like Oregon, Washington, or California.
I know it's. I mean, it's a great place to grow up, but it's like it's almost like you take it for granted unless you get to go out and see like the desolate.
Yeah, I
areas
think
and
a lot of
areas.
people definitely do take it for granted.
Yeah, and like during the summer, like we had so much rain there, and I wasn't prepared for the rain. I was like, oh, it's summer, in California, like there's no chance of rain. And going over there, we had a bunch of rain. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
there's a couple days where we just had to like stop biking because it was so
Just
fucking
hailing.
rainy and windy that it was just miserable to be out there.
Yeah.
And it was like,
How is this summer? What their summer is and our summer is completely different. It's like opposite.
we probably got at least like 40% of our days with rain.
That's
The rain
awesome.
just like followed us across the United States. It was really weird.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good open forum. About an hour. Got some good stories in there.
Yeah, the big 1-5. The big 1-5.
1-5.
Yeah. All right, guys. Signing off.
We out.
Deuces.